Why is Rome considered the center of Christianity rather than the Ethiopian Orthodox Church? Because history is not always written by truth, it is written by power. Let us go back. By the 4th century, while Europe was still in darkness, the Aksumite kingdom in Ethiopia had already declared Christianity its state religion. Nearly 1,000 years before Martin Luther's Reformation, Ethiopia's kings, priests, and people were living by the gospel. Their churches were not built on marble imported from Rome. They carved them out of living rock in Lalibela. Their liturgy was preserved in Ge'ez, an African language, unbroken for centuries. Their fasting cycles, stricter than Rome itself, and their tradition even claims to guard the Ark of the Covenant in Axum. So then, why does the world point to Rome when it speaks of the center of Christianity? Because Rome had an empire. When Constantine legalized Christianity in 313, it spread on the highways of the Roman legions. Later, when Europe colonized Africa, Asia, and the Americas, they carried with them their own version of Christianity, Catholic and Protestant. And through their colonial maps, they drew the story of faith as though it belonged only to Europe. Meanwhile, Ethiopia was never colonized. Except for a brief Italian occupation, it stood independent. And because it stood independent, its Christianity was never turned into a colonial export brand. That is why, in the history books written by Europe, Ethiopia's role is minimized, almost erased. But understand this: the center of faith does not depend on who drew the map. The heart of Christianity beats where it has lived the longest, where it has survived unbroken. And that is not only Rome. It is also in Ethiopia. It is in Egypt with the Copts. It is in the East, in Antioch, in Jerusalem itself. If the history were told fairly, no one would dare to speak of Christianity as a purely European religion. The oldest roots are African, or the oldest traditions are African. Ethiopia is not a footnote. It is a foundation. There's nothing like Christianity as a white man's religion. And Islam also is not a white man's religion. What I asked of you is never to go against your African brother because of your religion, because even the people that reintroduced Islam to us, they later enslaved us for their own selfish gain. Africa's own Islam and Christianity was okay, but the people that reintroduced them to us used it against us and enslaved us with the rewritten holy books. So when they tell you Rome is the center, remember, that is power speaking, not truth.